Okay, hello, hello. I am here. We are live, I believe. Hi, everybody, anybody. Um, Today I'm going to be starting some completely different projects to work on. I'm just getting out some random things and supplies that might be nice to have. Oh my goodness, I have a mess here. Something spilled in my little bin. I think it was this. Yeah, look at that. All over the tube. Okay, no big deal. Oh, and I have I forgot my water. My handy jar of water for cleaning brushes and these types of situations. Okay. Give me about 10 seconds. I'm going to grab that water. I'll be right back. I thought I had everything. All right, I got it. Not even 10 seconds, I think. Okay. Got my water, which is always necessary. And whatever this red stuff is very sticky. So I'll try to clean that up a bit. These little spray bottles are little fabric dye sprays that I picked up, obviously, for the stickers are on them still from finding them at a clearance. Always check the clearance racks for random things that could be fun to experiment with, because that's a great way to be able to afford to experiment with something. It's okay. Got some of these sprays. I'm not actually going to be working on fabric, but they work on anything. All right, I am relatively cleaned up. I have a few inks and random other things in here. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to want them. But note to self, try to be more careful about how I put things in here, and I will clean that up later. All right, no, I won't spell at the bottom. Okay. I'm going to start a small series of, I have little 5x7 canvas boards here. This is something that I picked up this last weekend. I stopped in the waste shed in Evanston. It's a little dry, but not too bad. But it is essentially a resale store dedicated to arts and crafts supplies, which is amazing. It really is. Okay, so this is something I picked up while I was there. And there's a lot in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 12 little 5x7s. They're board with a gessoed canvas attached. So I'm going to be doing a small run of much smaller pieces than you guys have probably seen me work on here yet. And they're going to be mixed media, collage, paint, whatever else. And today will probably be primarily working on the backgrounds of a few of these, getting them started. So we'll see, how can I move? Gotta have room for the coffee, priorities. So how is everybody this morning? I hope everyone's doing well and feeling maybe inspired and awake. I've only had half a cup of coffee so far, but I'm feeling ready to go, more or less. So, okay, I got 3 out here. We'll see how these go. Maybe I'll start another 1 or 2. Just gonna feel it out and mess around a little bit and have some textures. I kind of have it in my mind too, some collage elements that'll be a little kaleidoscope-esque maybe. And just, yeah, this is going to be experimenting and having fun, and whatever happens, happens. Should be good. This weird light right here. Whew, I looked right at it. Not a good way to start working on art, looking directly into a light. All right, everybody have their coffee, tea, whatever gets you going in the morning. All right. This is the hardest part. Blank canvases. Not just one blank page, many. It's like, okay, where do we start with? Because we're just gonna do things. Let's just start putting some paint down. I got my palette paper out here. I may, or we'll see. Depends on how much blending of colors we're doing. You know, let's just act like adults who know what we're doing and put some paint on the palette. Not that working on art requires one to behave as an adult necessarily. Hi, Mary Beth. Good to see you today. Here's another one of these these tubes that crack. Can you see where the top part of the thing is pulling apart? Oh, I hate that. I really like golden paints, but these lids are the worst. Oh, man. And it's like got sharp bits. That's what made me look at it. I'm like, ow, why is my paint bottle biting me? Okay, we're just working with acrylics. I could have done, I mean, this part of it could be oils potentially too, but I'm probably going to be working kind of fast and with a lot of different mediums. And with the oils, you'd probably want to have them really properly dried before you start adding other stuff on top of them too. And I know you can put oil on top of acrylic, but acrylic on top of oil does not work so much. Still have a little throat thing going. It's only been almost 3 weeks since I was initially got a little sick, so if that's hanging on a little bit of cough hanging on, but it's not too bad. Getting there. Able to stay upright for large chunks of the day, so that's a win. So I don't know if anyone's working on any, that kind of went weird in my direction of my colors, but that's okay. Anybody working on any fun creative projects today or this weekend coming up? I think I'll be going out of town tomorrow to see some family that's not doing well. But other than that, it looks like this will primarily be a catch-up weekend. Laundry needs to be done. I did not do laundry. No, I think I did one load when I thought I was starting to feel a little better, but yeah, I'm way behind on laundry. Some art project stuff for sure I need to catch up with. If I were doing a more proper, like a traditional style painting, I would be taking more care of the order in which I'm putting my paints on my palette. I kind of roughly have my reds up here and blues and greens over here. But yeah, normally I would I'd be a little bit more deliberate in where I put what, but this is just going to be some messing around, so not too worried. Not too worried. Oh, come on, is there anything left in there? My orange? Oh no. Oh. Come on. I just bought some more, luckily, but I definitely want to use up anything I can before I crack open a new one. That's something that always makes me nuts at the art studio I work at. Well, I mean, I think it's particularly with kids that I'm always very particular in my classes that I want the kids to use up the colors, use up the tubes that we have out before they're opening new ones, but then I'll come in after like a week of not being there and there's 80 tubes of every single color open that are all almost empty, but not quite empty. Come on, guys. Oh, well. One thing that works really well with the types of paints we have there, and you could certainly do that with these too, when they get down to this, there's almost nothing left in there, but cutting it in half and using a palette knife to scrape out whatever you can that's left in there is a good way to like really get the bang for your buck out of your stuff. Okay, and some purples, and then I think we'll be about there. I'm sure anybody who does paint probably more seriously than I do or anything, like, is, you know, the way everyone has their way to set up their palettes, I'm sure, was taught a certain way. Having gone through illustration in college, I was never really taught like a proper way to do it, but the idea being, you know, your paints go on the edge and then you have all the space here for mixing colors as we need to. Is that everything? Got my dark purple out. Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's go crazy. All right, well, that bought me a few minutes of doing something productive. All right, now got to start getting some paints down. Let's see. Maybe I'll start with spraying some of my blue. It's a blue. The clearance price sticker covers it, the label. Anyway, it's like almost a phthalo blue. Do a little spray on one of these boards. I kind of like how there's that translucent quality to this, and it gives you a lot of texture. Most of that will get covered up. I will probably do more of this sort of thing on top of whatever I paint on these, but I'll let that one dry while I move on to another. Play a little, what do they call that game where the magician switches your cups around? I don't know. And there's like glittery paint all over me already, and this is as far as I've gotten today. Okay, so it's a good day, you know, covered with some glitter and some colors. How can you possibly feel bad about that? All right. Spin my brush holder around, get to my not watercolor brushes. Oh, no, get off my paper. Okay. I happened to go to a home goods store yesterday, as I've mentioned a couple times my plan to really redo the setup in this studio, and I have such Mod Podge of half working and lights and clamp lights and things. I did actually pick up a couple of desk lamps that I'm gonna replace as like just the overall standard room lighting, so that's a start. I do still have a proper like daylight desk lamp over here from the art store, and I'm planning on buying, I'm thinking a couple of like the what do you call the lamps that are, you guys can see in the picture, these arms, the adjustable armed desk lamps. I'm planning on getting two of those. This one is not a lamp, it has a phone holder attachment on it, so that I can like put this over my canvas and record something with my phone if I need to or want to. But yeah, a couple of those lamps I'm actually planning on attaching to the wall over here where my desk is now, which I plan on putting my easel back in here. Like, I'll probably put this particular drafting table away. I'll have a smaller desk for doing like flat painting, and I'm going to bring my easel back out, and I'm going to have them up where I can kind of pull them out and have them at hopefully kind of 30-degree angles a little bit above me. That's what I'm thinking. I'm hoping that the arms will be long enough to make that work. My worst case scenario, I can get clamp lights and put them on the easel itself. Well, I mean, I have clamp lights, but some like better ones that are adjustable. So, gonna figure it out. Gonna try to actually get some really proper lighting. And you know, you don't really think about things like that much until you don't have it. When I moved into this place, when I was, 11 years ago, I've been here? Wow. Anyway, when I was looking at places, condos, it didn't occur to me to think about daylight. It just didn't even occur to me. Happens that the place that I'm in, all of the windows are east facing. IKEA, yes, I am planning on going to IKEA. And I'm close enough that it's very convenient to go to IKEA. Absolutely. Yeah, and they're like $20. They're a really good price there. I am absolutely planning gooseneck. I was thinking that, but then my brain said, no, that can't be right. And so I didn't say it. But if you are saying gooseneck too, I'm gonna believe that that's the right thing. Yeah, all the windows here are east facing, which means we get some direct light in the morning. But also, not so much in this room, my studio room, but in like the main living areas, the light that goes to the kitchen dining area and the light that goes to the living room. They have these overhangs. The living room it's to a patio, double glass sliding door to a patio, and of course there's a unit above us, so their patio overhangs ours, so that prevents us from getting a whole lot of light directly inside. And the same thing with our front, what do you call it, living kitchen dining room area. That one is has like a portico. It's a building that has, this is like a colonial style building from the 60s. It's got these big columns with the porch thing over them in the front, and that porch thing is what covers over those windows. So let me tell you how fun it is to try to keep plants alive in here. Despite my best efforts, which I'm sure anybody could argue one way or the other about how good of a job I'm really doing, I am a plant killer, and it makes me sad. I really try. I have a few right now. I have a philodendron that's I almost killed once. It's not entirely my fault. It's a little bit my cat, because hanging dangly things are very, very tempting. So I've had to put it up higher than when I first got the cat. But there's a philodendron that came back from almost being killed, is doing great still. I've had that for a very long time, surprisingly, 10 years now, I think. And I have a monstera plant. Okay, so I did something I won a gift card online randomly. Oh, look, see, I was right. It was Phthalo Blue, same color. And I won some free plants from this place called The Sill, where you order them online and they ship them to you. So, which was awesome, because plants can be surprisingly expensive, but the Monstera was one of them. And it's doing pretty well, but it's getting leggy, and I need to repot it. I had gone and repotted some of the plants I got from there this winter, which was the wrong thing to do. And I lost 2 died. One of them was also, I'm going to blame my cat a little bit on that one too, because it was one that had these like long leaves that stuck out and they were very tempting for him. So yes, there was, the Monstera is still alive. One of the plants is down to 1 leaf. 1 leaf on the poor thing. I haven't given up. I've not given up. The plants that I chose when I ordered those was, I picked things that were pet friendly, and I tried to find things that were shade tolerant, because that's what I need. I need plants that can live without daylight. Like a philodendron. That one does well, somehow. And you know what's really, really strange? I'm so not a gardener, but I try sometimes. Plants on our patio, which again, only east facing sun, tall building, so we're in shadow from like noon on. Shade tolerant, decorative plants will do okay out there. But I've gone through these different phases where I'm like, I want to try to grow like things you can eat and herb garden out there and this, that, and the other thing. Herb gardens have never worked well for me out there. Not very well. I think I had a rosemary do okay once. But it was... There, my brain's just... It's like the train gets off the track and starts to just spin. Hot peppers work really well out there. Nothing else works that great out there, but for some reason, hot chili peppers grow like outstandingly well out there. I'm just seeing I got these. This is something I need to work on too, getting all the wires out of the camera's view. Yeah, so I've grown some really hot chilies and make my own hot sauce, which is great. And I don't care what anybody tells you, squirrels will eat hot chilies. That's when I know that I need to really like get them and bring them in, is when the squirrels start stealing my like Thai chilies, not ghost peppers, but the Thai hot chilies. Those are really hot. And some habaneros. And it's gotta be the squirrels, because we're not on the first floor, so it's not like the chipmunks are coming for them. But yeah, I don't know. All right. Okay. So these can have a second to... I mean, they're still wet. It'll take a minute. That's fine. I'm just going to keep tooling around. Yes, hot sauces. Homemade hot sauces are amazing. And if you do like a fermentation method, they last forever. And then they get... They're just really tasty. They do. The chipmunks can climb. I didn't realize that, because there are chipmunks all around us here. I did not know that. I guess I've just never seen it, but they're pretty squirrely. But little guys that stay out of view. So if they were climbing, I guess I probably wouldn't see them. I had no idea. Huh. But yeah, definitely, there's definitely squirrels around, and we got a lot of birds. We have this set of mourning doves that likes to claim space on our patio. They'll just stand right on a railing or even on the ground right by the door, just like look at you. And Watson, my cat, he'll be like right on the other side of the thing, dying because he doesn't know what to do with himself because they're right there looking at him. But they just look at him. They're like, I don't know if it's like a deliberate taunt or they're not smart enough to recognize that very close to them is a predator, or they do and they're just like, haha, you can't get me, or maybe they think Watson's their friend. I don't know. It's really cute. But they could be noisy, and they do poop all over everything, which is annoying. No denying that. Yeah, I guess it could birds could be taking some of those little guys too, those little peppers. But yeah, fermenting. I went through a period where I was really into fermenting things, like anything, everything. Let me try it. Let me see what I can do with it. And there's health benefits, of course. But man, it just makes things really like savory and delicious. And it does kind of like settle the heat a little bit too over time. Because at least some of my hot sauces have been very, very, very hot because I'm using like the ghost chilies and all the things. But that's, you know, you do it to your preference. You could literally just do it with jalapenos, but then you'd have more of like a Tabasco-y thing. But the fermentation process, I can't recommend that enough. And that's sort of like just creating a mash. You do, okay, trying to remember. A decent amount of, the trick is having the right amount of salt to make it ferment and not like go bad on you. And I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm sure it's like out in the world, in the internet's universe, if anyone's curious. But yeah, really, really good. And it's time. You have the mash with the salt, you let it sit for like a month or so, and then you're adding in at the last end, you can filter it out, like put it through a sieve to make it nice and smooth, but you don't have to. And yeah, add some vinegar. I use some xanthan gum as like a stabilizer to keep it from separating. And oh man, yeah, that's the stuff. That's so good. Chipmunks mostly jump. Oh, oh yeah, I could see that getting away from predators up trees. Yeah, they can climb. We're a brick building, so it is climbable for any critters if they were so inclined to give it a go. Let me think. What was I? I have a thought. And you know that's always dangerous. I'm gonna make a little. I think I'm gonna make a little stencil here. Just a random shape. This is just, oh, not the nicest paper to do this with, clearly. All right, so never mind that one. Let me find something else that I can use. All right, I know that I have cardstock somewhere. That would work really well, I think. Let me check. It's probably in my printer. Give me 1 second, and I'm probably gonna make a ton of noise. Ugh. Where is it? Oh, nope. maybe. Well, whatever. This is just going to be a quickie thing. I don't care if it lasts long, so we'll just use paper. I'm just going to make a little shape. That I can cut out and repeat. Voila. Or something. Get some white on my palette too. I bought this huge thing of like kind of cheap white paint because for a while at the art studio we just didn't have white paint. It wasn't coming from whoever they order their supplies from. And so I'm like, well, it's really hard to create it's really hard to create a lot of different types of paintings without some white paint. There we go. So I just got this cheap stuff. Like whatever, I'll just buy it and have it there. This will last a little while. And then once I bought this, they got it in. So, you know, that's how it goes. So it's cheaper. It's more fluid. The differences by and large between one type of like acrylic paint and another mostly comes down to like how much pigment there is, like almost per part, I guess, maybe. So the cheaper stuff that you get, like craft store versions, that's mostly just, there's just less per part of the color, which is fine depending on what you want. I mean, I don't think, and color fastness is probably another element, although it's really hard to find much information on that sometimes. With certain manufacturers, you have to really go out of your way to look that up. That seems to be more common information to find when it comes to pastels or oil paint. It seems to be. Don't take my word for anything though, because I'm often wrong. All right. And somewhere. Kind of, maybe. So this is just base layer to eventually become, have some kind of image, more specific image added on top of this. And I have some rough ideas, but at this point in time, it's kind of fine to just go ahead and start tooling around and get the backgrounds, because the backgrounds don't need to relate directly, at least this part of them. When teaching, yeah, always good. Man, white paint. For a while, we'd even run out of yellow paint. That makes things really difficult because, like, you know, you run out of orange or purple or green, whatever, you mix it, but not having yellow paint, it's really hard. I remember one girl's like, I want to, you know, do this picture. It was daisies, and I'm like, well, we're gonna have to be creative about that. To cover wood. Oh, lost one of the big sugar maples and birch trees. Oh my. I wonder if that was from all the wind storms that we've recently had a while ago. I'm actually using one of the little canvas boards to do a little edge. Why not? It's just the back of it. That'll dry and be fine. I am perpetually losing things. Oh. Excuse me. Sorry. I'll do one more. Maybe it just comes off the edge up on top. Okay. One more orange stripe up here. Orange. I said orange, didn't I? Misfires. Sometimes brain just misfires. Occasionally I catch it. Normally I don't. Okay. Get some of these layers happening. Pardon me. My goodness. Some more coffee. I am very good at pouring my nice hot coffee and being happy to have it. Get busy with something and forget it's there, forget to drink it. I don't know if anybody else does this. It's starting to get cold, but it's fine. I'm not terribly temperature sensitive when it comes to beverages. If it's coffee, I'm happy. Water, room temperature, fine. No problem. All right, I kind of would like something round. I actually have someplace a compass for cutting out circles, but I have no idea where it is right now. I'm sure I put it away someplace when I was cleaning up. It like, this needs to have a home. Here is its home, and now I have no idea where it is. Okay. So I'm going to do my best to cut out a circle freehand, and you know that's not going to be great, but we're going to give it a go. Sorry, guys. That's not so bad. The upper respiratory infection that I had is still just doing its best to hold on. Well, it's good enough. That is good enough. It's just like with everything else I work on. A lot of this will eventually be all covered up. So, doesn't really matter. This is just to get some nice fields of color and texture to work on top of. That is the extent of the thought process here. Just color. It's all just about the color. perfectly imperfect. There we go. All right. We're starting to get some things going here. I'm wearing a very stylish bandana today on my hair. I have reached that point of I don't know what to do with my hair. This has been a cycle that I've been going through like repeatedly. I cut my hair really short and I like it for a while. And then I'll be like, oh, let's change things up. I'll let it grow a little bit. And the grow up process is always, kind of brutal. And I get cowlicks where, like, on the back of my head, the hair is just like sticking out that direction. It's just it's a fight. It's always a fight. And it wants to do its own things and it doesn't. I don't know. And then I get annoyed with it. And then I decide I'll get the point where it's like, I'm cutting it all again. I can't deal with this anymore. I'm kind of at that in-between moment right now where it's like, do I push through and let it grow? I probably having a better haircut in between and during the growth stage would probably be better, but I'm that person that's been cutting my own hair for many years and I'm very weird about it. I've been, color cut, all that stuff I've been doing myself for so long. Yeah, I don't know. Gotta see it through, I guess. I probably should try to see it through. I don't know. It's very annoying. Anyway, either I do something about it or I just wear a lot of hats and stuff for a while. So we'll see. I'm also, it doesn't help that I'm very, what's the word? Here we go again. Impulsive. I can tend to be very impulsive when it comes to my hair. It's like I decide I want to do a thing and then I'm going to do the thing like right now. So that sure doesn't help. I get the thought in my head and then it just is like, no, it's got to be right now. Can't wait. And I suppose that's probably an ADHD thing as far as I understand it, likely. Okay. Yeah, impulsivity about all kinds of things. Deciding I need to learn or try to do a thing. Tomorrow, I'm taking a class at the Makerspace that's a few blocks away from our library's Makerspace to learn how to sew because I don't have enough on my plate and that's something I must know how to do right now. Because hey, maybe I'll make my own clothes. Yeah, very likely. Good thinking, Lynell. Always on it. It's all right. don't know if this spot on here is going to dry quite that dark. I think that's mostly just because it's wet, maybe, but I'm not sure. That'd be cool. I like it. I actually like that. Pull some darker color down a little bit too. I mean, if I were smart, going back to like the hair thing and the impulsivity, it would be like you have a person to go to, right? You're like, hey, I'm going to try to grow out my hair, and they'll be like, okay, I can help you get through that process here. But then I don't know if I really want to grow it out. I just don't know what to do with it. And if I were really up to my own devices, I'd probably just shave my hair altogether. Just be like, yeah, I'm not doing it. But then I get bored with that after a while and be like, okay, what's next? There is no winning. But whatever. One of the dumbest things to worry about. Not important details. Very not important. Hair. Although it's nice to like feel good about it, but you know. It's all fine. One of these days I'm going to replace this, I've been using this cutting board as like a backdrop to protect the tabletop. And it is very much covered in stuff and a very rough material now to work on top of. It's not terribly flat, so I'm sure there's a better solution than using a cutting board. Yeah, you know, sometimes I actually need to cut a thing, and having a nice like flat cutting board can be an advantage to have. All right. What now? What now? What now? Yeah. Either way, whatever I decide to do, I need to get to some hair shop store thing and get some color. Because I was letting my hair be like the natural color for a while this last fall. And that was kind of fun and novel because I haven't ever done that since, like, my hair hasn't been its natural color since high school. So it's like, oh, that's what it looks like, huh? And then when you do that, you also get to see like, oh, how much gray hair do I actually have? But I get bored with it, you know, and then I'm like, oh, I miss doing the color. So I did the bleach and the color thing, and now the upkeep with that is a pain. Like, the roots grow so fast, so I'm at that point now. It's like, okay, I need to do roots again. It looks very garbagey. And then add some color. And you feel good about it for like a week or two again. It's that never-ending kind of process. And that's why, like, you know what? Just shave it off. That really would be the ideal thing to do. I keep almost putting, I don't know if you guys kind of see, I'll like pick up my brush and then I put it over here because I'm almost going to put in my coffee. I have done that before. I have put my brush into my coffee or water, whatever I'm drinking, and I have also almost drank my water. my paint butter, where you pick this up. Having brushes in it helps you from doing that, but if your brushes aren't in it and you go pick it up and like put it to your face, I put it to my face. I don't actually drink it, but I've brought it up to my face before. I'm like, oh, nope. These things happen. They are for real. Especially when you're absorbed in what you're doing and not really like paying attention to those things. Okay. All right, these two I'm feeling actually pretty good about. A little more in here. What do we want? This lime green color, this very light green, is very translucent compared to about everything else that I have on my palette. And my brush was pretty wet there too, so that just adds to that. Okay. Let's see. Something that I'm trying to find right now is good podcasts. I go through phases of I'll really be into one or another, and then I mean sometimes they start to get repetitive, right, or whatever, and then I'm looking for something new to listen to. There's one that I've been listening to recently that's good. What is it called? It's from The Jealous Curator. And I'm kind of drawing a blank. I guess I could actually look at it and let you know. So I mean, it is one that I would recommend. Let's see, podcasts. Oh, it's the Jealous Curator, Art for Your Ear. And that's been good. The Creative Pep Talk is a good one. I haven't listened to it in a while. That one is Andy Pizza. That's not his real name, but it's what he goes by. He does illustrations, kind of like children's book style illustration work, but it's a very positive and get you going kind of podcast that is really nice. So that's a recommend for anybody who's like is doing anything creative. It doesn't have to be pictures and paintings, but I mean, even with your day jobs or anything, if you just find yourself in creative ruts sometimes for anything, that's a great one to listen to. I've been listening to some in the last year, some like mental health kind of things too. And I kind of like reached the point where it's like, okay, I'm done with what that has to offer. So, yeah, kind of like looking for a new interesting podcast. I know the true crime ones are like hugely popular. That's just not something that like appeals to me a lot. Although y'all know I love my horror movies. I love horror. For some reason, true crime doesn't do the same thing for me. Um, hmm. I actually even at one point just randomly put on like short scary stories podcasts. I tried a couple of those once just because like this is something when I was driving. Didn't feel like listening to music. Didn't have anything that I was really like, whatever, this might be okay, let's try that. Um, nah, they weren't, I didn't think they were very good. So if anybody has like any podcasts you're really, really into that you think are great, I would love to know if there's something you would recommend. And actually books too. Like I'm kind of working my way back into like trying to finish the some of the 50 books that I have in various stages of having started. Um, but something I don't really have or haven't really had for a while is I haven't been a big like novel person, like reading fiction. I feel like I would like to have some fiction books that I could read as, just entertainment, escapism, but I don't even know where to start to look for something that I would enjoy and get into. I have people recommend things like The Handmaid's Tale to me, and I've never watched the show. I'm very familiar with it. I think that it would be more anxiety writing, stressful, which is not what I'm looking necessarily for. I'm not looking right now. I'd rather be finding something that is like just lighter, more enjoyable. I don't care for fantasy. My sister reads those like fantasy tomes, those huge books, like 500, 700 page books. She just devours them. And she amazes me. She's been teaching herself Finnish. I mean, she's used some like apps and books and different things to do it. So, but she has been, as part of her effort to become comfortable and fluent in this language, she has been reading Lord of the Rings, the entirety of Lord and the Rings in Finnish. And I'm like, oh, I want to learn. I've taken on. I do want to learn Spanish, and I have like Duolingo on my phone, and I remember to go back to use the app maybe once a month. she's incredible. My sister. She's an airline pilot, and she's always been somebody who like, if she decides she's gonna do a thing, get the heck out of her way. She's gonna do it. She's very inspiring that way. She really is. I think it's awesome. Like even her becoming a pilot was like just something in high school, maybe, I don't know, was it high school or junior, when she would have been like a kid, more or less. Uh, that just like seeing a plane flying and being like, that would be something that I think would be cool to do, and just being absolutely devoted to getting it done. She had her private pilot's license before she graduated high school. she's amazing. All right, I'd like my brush to be a little bit drier for this. All right. We'll do a little spray on here, see what happens. Let it drip a little. This is the one that I'd say I'm the least excited about. Maybe. I can always just, let it go and start working on the other medium that's going to go, things that are going to go on top of it too. Let me think for a second. This is like a weird thing. There's balance of the way things are. This purple right here totally bothers me for not a particularly good reason, but it does. So let me think here. Hey, good thing I did those stenciled shapes earlier. Can't see them at all anymore. Maybe just pull this a little, even it out a little bit. Are we getting it? Maybe? Maybe. Okay. Excuse me. All right, I'm thinking this might be a good start for a couple of these guys. Should I start a few more? Let these dry, and then maybe the next time I'll start moving on to some collage stuff and other textural elements. And I will also work on coming up with ideas for what I want to put on them. Like I have a broad concept of this series of what it's going to be, but working out what each individual piece is actually going to, say or portray, like in a more specific way, will be a little more, try to get some My canvas looks so, my palette looks so dark for some reason. I'm trying to get some light on there. Okay. Camera picking that up too much? There. My random hodgepodge of lamps here and there, and trying to figure out the lighting for what's going to work best for the cameras. Yeah, good enough. Okay, let's use up some of this paint. We're gonna go until I use it up. That's my plan. That's my brilliant plan of attack. And that works for this kind of way of working. I can get away with that. And not feel bad about wasting anything that way. Also. Now we're just going to start getting some colors down. Come on. I'm going to need some clean brush water here in a minute. It's getting pretty gross. Okay, what next? Start with some teal on this one. And there's some purple. Purple and this color they call a magenta, but it's like a deep pink. Doesn't feel like what I think a magenta should be. But nobody asked me. So as it goes. Alright, let's see. Let me get maybe a clean brush. Some of these I have had a very, very long time. And many of them have been victims of not taking care of them the best. But they're still working. Luckily, I haven't had to throw away too many brushes in my time working. Yeah, kind of starting with a little bit of a almost complimentary kind of thing going on these, which is great. That orange paint, you saw me trying to squeeze out of that tube with every fiber of my being. That one was very thick. Not terribly workable. It's needed, like I've had to actually pull in some water on there to try to pick it up with the brush. And pulling a little yellow into that light green color, bright green color, helps thicken it a little bit. It's funny, green, I've kind of come to realize is a color that I don't work with a lot. And it's never been a deliberate decision. It just has sort of happened to have come around that way. So it's interesting. I'm working with it. I try to do a little bit more with it once I kind of realize that, challenge myself to do some things, try some things differently. We're just going kind of fast and loose this time around. Gotten properly loosened up with my concerns about not screwing things up. Oh Lord, can't screw something up. Gotta let that go. This one's sitting over here so precariously. I need to find a safer spot for it before I knock it on the floor. And it would land paint side down, you know it would. Well, I know it would. That's just how things go when I'm involved in the process. And try to not stick my fingers on the wet canvases too. That's another thing. Not that anything like that can't just be covered up with a little more paint. Just a way to make things a little bit more of a pain on myself, because I don't realize I do it when I do it. Outside of the fact that my hands are pretty well covered in paint by the time that I'm done working. Alright, I think I've officially used up all my yellow. Singing little songs in my brain while I work. I still look, my computer's back there. I still have a tendency to look at the screen there to like see these like from a little step back. It's kind of funny, but yeah, it gives me just a little bit of a different view and perspective. Yeah, this paint's still quite wet. I'm kind of like picking up as much of it as I'm laying down when I work into it when it's still that wet. pink spray on there maybe. See what happens. Try not to do it all over myself. I don't know if the yellow will even show up on here, but just barely. This is dangerous. Like, I'm just letting stuff fly on my desk right now. Oh, let's see what happens. Who cares what it gets on? Smart. Oh, I wonder what I did with the lid for that one. Oh, I don't like that on the orange. Oh, my paint water is as thick as the paint. Gross. Let's get some of this back on here. Okay. That's better. Yeah. Stop walking across my desk. Okay. All right, I didn't do as much like little particular shapes and things in this as I did with the other three. So I'm trying to decide if I want to leave them like that or add in some of that kind of stuff too. Either way, I think they're all really wet because I've just been flying through them. Like where I spent almost an hour working on those previous three, this I did in like, what, 15, 20 minutes. So let me think. Okay. I'll still put down a few little bits of something and then we can let it dry a little. Oh, stuck to my palette. Oh no, come on. There we go. Something on here that just a little hunk of paint. Now my little shake is really getting a little intense there. I'll just go with that and lift up some paint here and then I'll cover it with something different. Let that be a texture. All right, and what? I think it's supposed to rain today. It's like 50 degrees yesterday. I think today's supposed to be like all right, and then 29 degrees on Saturday. So hey, it's still winter for at least a few more days. I like that. How about that? How about that? One thing that I'm keeping in mind doing these is to not let the paint be too thick and heavy to like add a lot of texture onto these boards. Like I'll definitely get some texture on them by adding in the collage elements, but I know that I mean to paint something more figurative on them in the end, so I don't want there to be like big gobs of paint that I'm trying to work over. So that is a thought in my mind in terms of like not going completely wild with super heavy approaches with paint. Man, this water. Okay. Get some red orange maybe. Just a drag, just dragging the brush. All right. Now, this brush stroke here is bothering me. What shall we do about that? That's a little brighter than I want, or darker than I want. And what's up? Am I laying down white paint? No, I'm just picking up paint still. I'm gonna let this get really wet. I'm gonna do some drops. That's my plan. Come on. Lots and lots of water in this. And I'm going to go back in and mark out some of that again. Just a little bit. I think we're going to go really heavy brush strokes. For some of this, really lay it on. Use the stuff up too. Not enough to like create ridges of paint, but okay. Like let's pull in a little bit of some kind of blue on here too, I think. And maybe that'll be all right. And I'm teasing the brush over it and letting it just sort of just touch the canvas to get some of these marks. What do you think? Pretty good bases to work from. Okay. I think I'm going to swap. That's just very sticky. Back in the pieces that I started working on before. I'm gonna trade them back and forth here. Let those dry. Well, these are almost entirely dry. I do have some, when I was just talking about this, there are some paint ridges there, but they're towards the edge on this piece and I can control where my image will go, so those won't be a problem. All right, trade this one in here. Almost. This one, because it was the last one I worked on, just a little bit up there, a little bit up here is a little wet. But these I think are otherwise pretty, pretty dry. I'm going to use some of my disgustingly dirty paint water to clean off my hands a little bit, just because it's kind of sticky stuff sometimes. My goodness. My hands get so wrecked when working on things like this and constantly washing. All right, so maybe I don't want to use any oil pastel at this stage of the game because I think that I don't want anything that's going to interact with what I put ultimately on top. And that can repel anything that's water-based because that's oil-based. So while I love that texture sometimes, for what I'm doing right now, I don't want that. I'm curious. I never really messed around with pencils over acrylic. I wonder if these will show up at all. If I did some line work. It's sort of they're very translucent, so even a light color looks like it's getting quite dark. Let me see if that's the case with all. Oh no, I got a little. I can get some yellow on there a little bit. Hello, Mr. Watson. Look who came to say hi. Hi, baby. What's up? Oh. Getting hungry? You have half an hour to go till lunchtime, baby. This one's still my least favorite, but it's gonna get a lot covered up, so whatever. This doesn't work that great. But I do always have paint markers. There he is. Hi, buddy. These are wet, so I don't want you walking on them, okay? Yeah, you want to help? And get your tail in there and pick up some paint and add some textures for me? Hmm? What do you say? What do you say? Hmm? He's my little studio assistant. This little guy. Yes, he's my good boy. Everybody needs a cat, a studio cat. I think so. Yes, that's my baby. Well, I'm thinking that I'm not really feeling it going into these with the paint markers. Oh, let's get that away. That's wet, baby cat. Get out of there. I'm not feeling that so much. Come on. Can't walk on the wet paint, all right? sweet, but I don't want you walking on the wet paint. What I am gonna do, I'm gonna give one spray of this kind of magenta color on this guy. I don't know if it'll make any difference. So we'll see how that dries. Maybe that'll do it. So I'm thinking that this is pretty much this might be a good spot to let them all dry, and then on my Thursday stream, today's Thursday, on my Monday stream, Monday evening at 7 p.m. Central, I will pick these back up. Maybe that will be the time that I'm going to do some of the collage stuff on there. And if I have something ready to go for at least one or two of them for the final stage of the artwork, the figurative element, then at that point, maybe I can start working on that also. So that could potentially be a nice long stream of doing all these things. And I used up the majority of my paint on my palette, so I don't feel bad about throwing anything away at this point, which is always the ultimate downfall of working with acrylic paint. I do have a wet palette that can help to keep it, excuse me, make it last a little bit so you have a little more leeway. It's not just one and done when you make your palette, but yeah, I mean, I'm working so whatever right now that look at, there's already cat hair on him. He comes up and says hi once, and there's cat hair everywhere. So yes, Thursday, 7 p.m. Central. I will be hitting all 6 of these again. I might just do the 6. I don't know if I'm going to add any more. That's going to depend on what I come up with for the whole of the series of these pieces. 6 might be a good number. I don't know. I have 12 of these little canvases, so we could just go crazy. But that's where we are. There. Can't have white canvas showing through. Just use white paint. Yes. That's it. So I'm going to be working on that. I did work a very small bit on the piece that I was working on in my last sets of streams. Very little bit. What I'm going to be doing with this guy. Let me switch the cameras around real quick here.